So, hello everyone. Today I'm going to teach you how to answer or to do custom subnetting and subnetting process. So here we have a problem and also a given. As you can see, number of needed subnets given is 1000 and number of needed usable hosts is 60. So as you can see here, we have our IP address or network address. So the given is 165.100.0.0. So basically with this given we can already tell that our IP address is class B. So since we have a class B network address or IP address, automatically we have two hosts already. These two zeros in the end. So basically all we need to do is simply convert the two hosts into 8 bits each. So here we already converted our hosts into 16 bits in total, but 8 bits each per zero. So now we're going to write the decimal value. So we're going to make it something like, let's say, blue. So the decimal value is here: 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, and 128. And here we repeat from 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, and 128. So if you're asking why do we only have 8 bits and why do we need to only stop at 128, simply because the limit of our IP address is only 255. So when we add this all, we have a total of 255. So next, as you can see, we are asked for the total number of subnets here in our problem. We're going to write the subnet above the decimal value, which is starting from left side to right side, and we also need to start at 2. Now again, we're going to start from left to right, starting with 2. Now we have 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256, and here we need to continue. So 256 plus 256 is 512. Wait, let's double check. Yes, 512. Now 1024, 2048, 2048 times 2, 4096, shit, times 8192, 16,000, 60,384, and times 2 that again. So as you can see, it is really a long process, but it is not that hard. Yeah. It just takes time to learn this. 3768 times 2 that again. 6556 65536. So as you can see here, we already have our subnet. Let's change it into color red, maybe, so you won't get confused. Now, the next step, you will be needing to write the host part, or the host address. So what we will do is, we're going to start from right to left this time. And same as before, we need to start at 2. So we just copy this one. 16, 32, 64, 128, 256, 512, 1024, 2048, 2048, 4096, 8192, 1638, 4, 32768, and last is 65536. Just stretch it a bit. As you can see, it doesn't fit. Let's make this smaller, I think. Maybe 10 or 8. There you go. Let's make it color yellow. Oh, orange instead. Now there, we already have this one. So wait, let's try to remove A, E, O, U. Where's the shading go? There, we have no border. Now proceeding. Now we have our needed subnets, which is 1000. So as you can see in our subnet, we don't have 1000. So what we need to do is we find the nearest number after 1000. So in our given subnets, we have 1024. So that will be total number of subnets we have. Okay, so all we need to do is insert a line. So wait, so that you won't get confused. There we go. So since we have already gone through this far, we can answer some of the question here below. So like what I've said earlier, the IP address given was class B. So since our default subnet, so since it is class B, our default subnet mask is 255.255.0.0. So since we have our line here, so that indicates that we need to stop here. So to identify the custom subnet mask, as you can see, we have our first octet here. So basically we cannot combine both octets. Okay, so as you can see, we have completely 8 here. So our third octet will be 255, because if we add this all together, the answer will be 255. So we put it 255.255.255. Now in our fourth octet, we can see we have 2 zeros here since there is a line, so we need to stop here. So we just simply add this one. 128 plus 64 is 192. There, we have our custom subnet mask. Now going back to the given, as you can see, total number of subnets that we have is 1024. It's right here, 1024. And the total number of house address will be 64, since in the given, number of needed usable hosts is 60. Since we don't have 64 is the nearest number. So since we don't have 64 is the nearest number. So as you can see, right here 64. So how we're going to answer this? Simply, we just need to minus 2 here, our subnets and our host address. So 64 minus 2 is 62, and 1024 minus 2 is 1022. So if you're wondering why do we need to minus 2, simply because the first and last value is invalid. So we're going to subtract it always into 2. Now next, number of bits borrowed. So as you can see here, we have our line, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bits for our third octet, and 2. So 8 plus 2, we have 10 bits borrowed. Now proceeding to the next questions, they are asking this following questions. So after this, we have something to do a little bit difficult and also a long process, because we need to do a pattern. Okay, Need to insert one more. Insert below. Insert below. Okay, let's just put some border first. So for you won't get confused, all borders. Okay, now here we have a pattern here, which is 0 and 1 1 0 uh, 0 1 10 and 11. There, we're going to do this pattern for us. So going back, so the reason why we need this pattern again, so that we can answer some of the following question right here below. So since they are asking what is the 15th subnet range, we need to make until maybe 15 of this pattern. 15. So as you can see, we already have 1 2 3 4 4 patterns made. So the pattern goes like this. We just need to remember that we need to start from 0 1 and stop from 11. So since we already have 11, so since we already stopped at 11 or the tenths, we need to proceed to hundreds. So we're going to make that 1 0 0. Next unit, it will be 1 0 1. The next it will be 1 1 1. So we have already reached 11 again. The next pattern will be 1 0 0 0. And it just keeps on continuing. There, it continues. We're going to make it 1 0 0 1. Then we're going to add another row again. 1 0 1 0. Insert row again until it comes 1 0 1 1. So since this pattern will take so long, we need at least 15 of it. I'm going to skip and be right back when the pattern is already done. And now we're back. As you can see, earlier I've made a mistake and forgot to put this pattern after this one. So I've double checked my pattern. Now we have at least 16 of it until 16. Here you can see. So the next step, if you're wondering what we're going to put in this side, simply we just need to put the IP address. We need to convert what we've done here. So simply we need to, since we have nothing, we need to write 165.100.0.0 since we have no ones to convert into decimal. So next, we need to write 165.100.0 since we don't have here in our third octet, and since we have 1 here, we convert it to 64. Next, we have 165.100.0.128. Since we have 1 here in 128. Next, we have 165.100.0 since we don't have something here in our third octet, and since we have 2 ones in our fourth octet, 128 and 64, we need to add them, so 192. Until we just continue until we get at the bottom. So we are back. So as you can see, I've finished writing everything. Now the next thing we need to do is to write the IP address before the next IP address. So since it is 64, need to write 165.100.0.63. We do the same until the end. Since it stopped at 128, we will going to write 165.100.0.127. Do the same process until you reach the end. So I'm be right back, guys. Now since we were able to complete this pattern, we can finally answer some of these questions. So what is the 15th subnet range? So if we're going to look here in our 15th subnet range, the answer would be this one. There. As you can see, we have 165.100.3.1282 165.100.3.191. So here, the next question, what is the subnet number for the 6th subnet? So by the way, I forgot to tell you that this first one, we call this the subnets, and the second one is the broadcast. Where is that? The broadcast address. So since in this question number 10 they're only asking for subnet, so we're going to look for it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So our sixth subnet is here, 165.100.1.64, and here they're asking for the subnet broadcast address for the sixth subnet. So we're going to look for it, 1 2 3 4 5 6, and the broadcast address. Here we have 165.100.1.127. So for the last question, what are the assignable address for the ninth subnet? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Okay, here copy this one. So as you can see, what we said earlier, the first value and the last value is invalid, or we cannot include it. So as you can see, this is our first value, and this is our second last the first value. This is the first value, and this is the last value. So if we're going to look at it, the number in between them, here, the next one will be 165.100.2.1, right? That is the second to the first value, and the last one before the last value is 165.100.2.62. So since the first and last value is invalid, we're not going to include them in the assignable address. We're going to use this one instead. And now we're done answering, or we're done doing the subnetting and custom subnetting process. So there we go. Thank you for listening and for watching this video. I hope you understand anything from this tutorial.